my beauties. So today I was going to hold off on this video actually just because I'm still having issues with my camera, and this is my third video that I'm recording with this really crappy phone camera, so hopefully it's not too bad. But today I'm going to do a video on the top 5 eyeshadow palettes from the drugstore, or kind of like more affordable eyeshadow palettes that I think, in my opinion, are really good quality for the drugstore and, you know, are kind of worth your money even though they are on the more affordable side. So today we're going to be going over those. And when I was actually getting ready today, I found this in my jewelry box. I found this cool little like bubbly ring. Do you guys remember these? These were like a huge hit. I don't know, back when I was like maybe in elementary. These were like the coolest thing ever because it looks like a plastic or a glass kind of ball, and then it has designs from the outside, so it matched me today, so I figured I'd put this on. It brought back so many like memories. But anyways, so let's get into this video. I will be definitely posting my Friday chit chats as well, so hopefully you guys stay tuned for that. So in front of me, I have 5 really affordable eyeshadow palettes that I think, you know, really do compare to some of the higher end palettes. And I do have specific brands that I prefer over some other ones from the drugstore, especially just because, you know, I feel like a lot of brands from the drugstore that are more affordable are definitely stepping up their game and the quality, the pigmentation of all sorts of types of makeup, from foundations, you know, powders, to their actual eyeshadows, to lip products. And so I really did want to give you guys like my preferences because I love my eyeshadow palettes. I feel like that's one of the things that I am definitely a junkie in. So for the actual brands that are more affordable in the eyeshadow department, and I'm talking about like eyeshadow palettes, my preferences would definitely be NYX, because I do enjoy quite a bit of their actual, you know, full palettes. So NYX has definitely stepped up their game in the quality of the shadows. My other one that's usually just found in Ulta is Makeup Revolution. I feel like their quality of the eyeshadows are really good for the price that they give it to you for. And then for the actual drugstore, I do like the Milani shadows. But I have tried out various brands from like Maybelline, and L'Oreal has a lot of like different palettes, and Revlon has also quite a few eyeshadow palettes. I've tried the MUA brand from the drugstore, and none of them are like consistent throughout like each palette. So that's why I wanted to make this video and give you guys like my opinion and my preferences. So here are my top 5, and I'll let you guys know if it's just that palette alone that I absolutely love, or if it's actually, you know, the brand overall that's really consistent and good quality, creamy, buttery, pigmented. So let's get to it. First off, I am going to start off with this palette right here. This is a palette by e.l.f. And this palette right here by e.l.f. has definitely like blown me away by the actual butteriness and pigmentation of this specific palette. This is the Mad for Matte 2. This is definitely a newer palette, but I have not been like impressed with e.l.f. pigmentation eyeshadow palettes before. And this one has just definitely like blown me away. The pigmentation, the colors, this is all a matte palette, but it is just so creamy, so buttery. There might be a tiny bit of fallout, but I mean, if a palette is really pigmented, that's usually what happens. You kind of have to sacrifice, you know, the fallout for, you know, the super pigmentation, but they're just so creamy. And here's the thing with this palette, I actually have another one of their palettes that is this one right here. This is the actual Nude Rose Gold palette. And I'm sorry to say, I mean, this palette is okay, but in comparison to this one, I mean, it doesn't even compare. Like, this one isn't really consistent. And I feel like their shimmer shadows aren't like as pigmented and did not blow me away. And it's less consistent, and I feel like I don't know what the difference is between the two palettes in the formulation of the shadows, but this one I would definitely highly recommend. It's $10, and I feel like it's super worth the price for every single dollar that you're paying for this. And I can't really say the same for their other palettes. So this is definitely one of my recommendations from the drugstore, referring to like all matte shadows. I feel like this formula is just beautiful. The next eyeshadow palette that I would definitely recommend that is very consistent in pigmentation, that does have a combination of shimmer shadows and matte shadows, that has really nicely arranged color schemes, is the Milani palette that looks like this. They have definitely a variety of different color ranges. They have a blue, a orange, a more warm berry. They have a more neutral, that's this one. And I feel like these palettes are really well thought and put together because you have like everything that you would need. You have your base shadow, you have your crease shadows, you have your shimmer shadows, you have a darker in the crease shadow, you have a contour shade. So it is actually really nicely put together, and the pigmentation on these is really nice. They have been around for quite some time. I used to have a ton of these, but I actually like gave a lot of them away. And so this is definitely another one of those really good quality, consistent palettes from the drugstore in my opinion. So the next two palettes, number 3 and number 4, are from the same brand, and I'm talking about the NYX palettes. I've definitely been a huge fan of the NYX's palettes, eyeshadow palettes. They had one for the holidays. They do have like newer ones that just came out. And from me like testing and playing around with like different varieties, I do like their formula overall. Alright, so this is one of their newer palettes. This is the Warm Neutrals, and I like this palette overall. I feel like the color arrangement is really nice. It is more of like a warmer tone. This palette is actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today. And some of their shadows are just absolutely like gorgeous. And so, do you see that? They're so nicely pigmented. And the shimmers apply beautifully. If I use my finger, they just really glide on. They have really nice pigmentation. And so I do really enjoy this palette. I've tried their other palette that looks like this with the square arrangement, and I wasn't the biggest fan of that one. But this one in specific, I really do enjoy, like the color arrangement and pigmentation. And just overall, I feel like it's a really nice palette. Now, another palette that I've been actually obsessed with for a while is the NYX Avant Pop palette, and this is such a beautiful palette overall. It has a beautiful combination of shades, so you can get a whole lot of different various looks with this. I feel like you can go a little bit more neutral, but you do have those pops, very interesting pops of colors to actually, you know, do something very different with your look. And the pigmentation in these is absolutely phenomenal. If I had to recommend between these two palettes, I would even stick with this one just because I feel like it's even nicer now for the summertime. And the pigmentation is really nice. The shimmer shadows actually really do show up. They're just really beautiful overall. They're just so creamy and buttery. You do get a lot of product in these, and I just really love it. Like, I don't think there's anything negative I could say about this palette. Most of these do have a little bit of fallout, but like I said, like that's what you're gonna have to kind of put up with in order to get the really nice pigmentation. But NYX, in my opinion, is definitely one of the better brands in like really affordable drugstore eyeshadows. So I really do enjoy their palettes. This is definitely one of my favorite palettes from them by far. And I feel like it's perfect for the summer. So this is definitely another palette that I would recommend. And actually, some of you guys will know, I actually bought a few of these and did include them in my other like group giveaway. So I do really enjoy this one, and I think it's a great palette. And before I move on, I did want to remind you guys that I do have an April giveaway if you guys are interested. So definitely I'll have it linked down below. Make sure you subscribe and enter because I am going to be doing like an April giveaway. And I will be announcing the winners on May 2nd. So definitely stay tuned for that. And then my last palette that I'm going to talk about is from Makeup Revolution. This is not an actual drugstore brand. It is found in Ulta or online. I really do enjoy this brand. I feel like this is more of like a dupe brand because recently at least they have came out with a lot of like palettes that are affordable that kind of mimic a lot of higher end palettes. So this is one of my favorite ones. This is definitely more of like a warmer, berry, peachy toned palette. This is the Professional Eyeshadow Palette, New Neutrals versus New-Trals. So I really do enjoy this one. I've worn it so much. I actually have indented a few of their shadows. I don't know if you guys can see, but I absolutely love this palette as a more affordable palette. Their actual shadows and pigmentation are really, really beautiful, and they do show up really nicely. Let me go ahead and swatch a few of these for you guys. They're just really nice quality in general. This one definitely reminds me of the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, and it's just really nice. Once again, there's not a lot of like negative things I can say about this palette. This is one of my favorites from their brand, from the drugstore, from like as an affordable brand. But this brand overall has really good quality palettes that I would like recommend you guys check out if you're looking for something more, you know, on the cheaper side. So I just really like, do you guys see, like, even in the light they kind of reflect and shimmer, especially the shimmery ones. And so I do really enjoy this palette. This is definitely one of the ones I would definitely recommend. And this brand overall has a really nice variety of different, you know, palettes in general. So that would have to be my last recommendation, my number 5. And these weren't really in any particular order, but I did really want to give you guys a variety of neutrals and mattes and shimmer and combination palettes, just so it's easier for you guys to like pick out something if you are looking for an eyeshadow palette, because I know for the drugstore they don't have testers and it's always kind of like hit and miss. So hopefully this helped you guys out a little bit. But anyways, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today and for hanging out. You definitely can subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, superlady246. If the quality of the video isn't the best, I will be improving that and trying to get my other camera fixed really quickly. So hopefully my next few videos are not going to be on my crappy phone camera. But either way, thank you guys so much for all your support. Lots of love from me to you, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! Mwah.